My name is Alexander Hacke. I've been a touring musician, composer since 1980. I guess I'm best known for my work with Einstürze Neubauten. I play all kinds of instruments. I love playing bass guitars, and I love electronic music, and I love electronic musical instruments. I grew up with the Korg MS-20, like the semi-modular synthesizer. That was my first electronical instruments, and I loved, tweaking the sounds on this instrument. It was the only year that I had reasonable grades in physics in school. we did acoustics, and I could explain the difference between different waveforms and stuff like that. I do like delving into the physical aspects of sounds. I like to shape sounds from a pretty rough initial source like that, rather than playing an instrument, working with waveforms and working with envelopes and stuff like that. I love doing these things, and I love creating sounds that do not exist or that have not existed before I created them. Any art form really is just means of transport for truth, and music for me is the best tool to get in touch with higher states of consciousness, to get in touch with the divine. I don't know how you want to put it. It's a great ticket to get out of this mundane reality. Everything that happened in my life was accompanied, if not influenced, by the music that I heard at the time. Whatever, your first love, your first professional decisions, why you live at a certain place, why you do this and that, that is all somehow connected to the music that you love. And if I am able to provide that service to somebody else, if somebody says like, well, back then that and that happened to me, and I listened to that and that music of yours, and it really helped me to make that decision, or it really influenced me to leave that crappy boyfriend, or something like that, then I say like, okay, well, I've done my part, because that's what music does for me, and if I can provide that service, then everything's good. Well, obviously writing sound sets as opposed to playing music is very solitary. I sit here all by myself, and I'm in a completely different world and in a completely different mindset, as opposed to when I play music, which is for me basically communication. Musicians tossing the ball back and forth and creating a dialogue, a conversation between each other. That is a great difference. I appreciate both lines of work. I think this research work, being by yourself and diving into these worlds, is for me is as important as the other half, where we basically play with each other. I've had the idea of doing something like this for a while. I'm carrying it around with me for quite some years now, to do something like this, to work within this symbolic framework, because I find it very interesting to work with these fine aspects effects of emotions or audible, sound design basically. This gives me a lot more freedom and a lot more opportunity to dive into detail than working with actual pieces of music. What I love about doing this too is that I'm not the dictator that forces you to listen to my song or even to my album. I give you something of my perception, or I give you a piece of creation that you can then utilize and work with yourself. You can use it in your music. It hasn't happened very often yet that I actually can detect my sounds in other people's music, but I think it would make me very happy if that happens, because all these things, all the music that you write and all the sounds you design or all the art you do, I mean it tells all these intricate stories and it is a piece of your personality. Maybe it just means something to me, or maybe it just means something to you. But still, it's like if I can manage to implant that, all this meaning that I connect to it, if I can implant that in other people's music, that would be, for me, would be a great thing. It's like it's like biological warfare. When you say any art form is means of transport for truth, then the tarot is sort of the bus, the schedule. It is a narrative that can be different every time, or that is different every time you look at it. The great thing about tarot and tarot readings and things like that is that there is not one answer, or there is not one narrative, there is not one divination to the cards, but it is a very personal thing, and therefore it relates to what I understand music is. Picking up the tarot as a groundwork for the sound set is lot of the famous visual artists of the Renaissance and stuff were commissioned to paint tarot decks or design tarot decks for the aristocracy. Getting a commission to design a sound set, for me, it was great to have a theme like that, to pick up this kind of theme and do interpretations. My interpretations are my personal interpretations of those cards, and they might not work for anyone else, but basically this way you also get to play the tarot within music or within the composition process. That was my idea too, that when you're working on a piece of music and you don't know where you want to go with it or where the piece of music should go, you can always draw a tarot card, and the tarot card will lead you to a certain sound that you might be able to use in a good way within your music. Within the system of the tarot, there are certain parameters that I also work with. In the tarot, you have the wands, the cups, the coins, and the swords. Each of these suits stands for an element and also a different region of divination. The wands, the sticks basically, is the element of fire, right? Wood burns, and fire is also your creativity, your will, what you intend to do, where you want to go. The swords stands for air and also your intellect, the way you rationalize what is happening or what will happen. The cups stand for water and also for your emotions. And Lastly, the coins stand for the element of earth, or anything that you need to sustain your physical realm, or that's connected to that. So basically, these cards do have meanings that are apart from planetary references and all that, but the cards have meanings that give me a certain guideline where I want to go. So if it is the Three of Cups, then I already know that it's the cup, so it has to be an emotional sound. And the three is sort of a number of achievement. So it has to be a it's like the first fulfillment, first love, would be the Three of Cups. So that's a sort of a picture that I get in my head, and I try to sort of express that within music or within sound. People can use it, and people have been using the tarot in itself, and also within the sound set. They could use it in any old way. They could say, I will draw 3 cards. One will be the basic track, one will be the lead sound, and one will be the bridge. Or there's very different ways you could use the system for yourself. Or you don't use the cards at all, you just browse through the sounds and see what they tell you. Also, I put pretty extensive liner notes to each of the sounds. If you open a sound, there's the information page, and in the information page there's usually like a whole story, what this sound means and where it comes from. So you're not left to your own devices. I give some sort of hints or suggestions, not only what this sound sounds like or what you can use it for, but also what it might mean.